Good morning, or 12 on the dot. My name is Maddox Maines, and I will be doing the module number 5 homework over invasive species. So, beginning with the first question, an invasive species can be a plant, animal, or pathogen that are non-active to the ecosystem, where its presence is likely to cause an economic or an environmental harm to human health. An example that I used for an invasive species is in Texas is the zebra mussel. The zebra mussel is a really small, like, essential, like, shell, almost, with like it's a freshwater mollusk with like zebra or zigzag markings on the shell, that sometimes it becomes a pest, which it leads to blockage in water pipes, and they fall, and the way they have migrated and transported around the world is because they have they attach to boats a lot, which that is a big issue, like in a lot of marinas and lakes in Texas, is that they always say check for zebra mussels, because they always attach to boats, and if you go somewhere else and it's attached to you, they're gonna end up spreading again. So that's another thing they do, is they spread a lot by attaching to the boats that they sit in the docks and stuff like that. And then, so if you don't take them off, then when you go to a different lake, then boom, they end up spreading there again. So it's the way that's how it spread to Texas is in the early 2000s. They were attaching to big commercial boats that were flowing through the rivers, and sooner or later a boat comes into another river, another big lake or body of water, and it slowly just it spreads into what it is now. It's where they're an invasive species, and it can cause damage in multiple ways. An ecological example of damage is by it filtering out. It filters out the algae that some species feed on and need to, like, attach to and eat, and so it causes economic impacts by the companies in big cities spending millions of dollars on, unclogging waterways, and removing them from, big, like, buildings and docks and stuff like that, because they're also very sharp, apparently. I remember when I was in Austin for the weekend, my uncle, he told me that, like, watch out when you're coming up the stairs on the dock, because the zebra mussels are attached and they're really sharp. So that's another way it can affect you. And lastly, invasive species affect human health by attaching to boats, and boat owners having to deal with them, to remove them. You know what I mean? I know it's my uncle. Funny thing is that when we docked the boat, he made sure because he took me as a wakeboard. He told me that since I didn't have to do anything except have fun, that he told me I had to go out there and with the little, I guess it's I'm gonna call it a little shovel. It probably wasn't a shovel, but I had to go out there and hand pick the zebra mussels off and throw them away, because he didn't want them on the boat, messing up the paint, and someone getting scratched by it. And also, he doesn't want it to spread, because that's like a big rule at most of the marinas at nowadays. And some ways that we are trying to stop the zebra mussels from spreading is by most marinas and places, like I said, requiring them to be drained from boats, after they've been removed from the water. You know what I mean? So you can't leave until, like, you have cleaned your boat, essentially. And sorry. And then so that's just literally just by removing them from the boats before you leave, and also just by trying to keep your boat clean before you go into the water. So, like, before you go into the water, when you put your boat in, you have to make sure that your boat is therefore clean, so you don't put any more of them in the water. And we can help prevent the spread of other invasive species by being careful to what animals and plants and pathogens can attach to and relocate. So, I know that a big thing in my front yard with the horses is they're called cocoa burrs, and they're basically like little big stickers, but they don't hurt, and, like, they attach to horses' tails. And if, I guess, before we moved in here, someone had them on their boots and stuff like that, and walked in the pasture, and then boom, now they're crazy, and we have to mow every few weeks or so. But yeah, So just by making sure that animals and plants and pathogens can't attach to anything that you're wearing or anything that you belong, like a car or anything. So that alone that was something that I can do and we can do to stop the spread of invasive species. Along with, when you're buying a plant or animal that is not it is not invasive to the area that you're going to in general. So I know a big thing is like in Florida, I think it's the python, it's something like that, but yeah, they're an invasive species now because someone had a few and now they reproduce, and now it's a huge issue now. So just by ensuring that whatever you're buying, that plant or animal, that it isn't invasive to that area. Thank you for watching.